looks identical. When I first saw the commercials for it, I was like, oh, I thought it was like a spin-off or something of Rick and Morty.
You could say that. People are already like, those crazy fucking theorists.
Yeah,
they throw everything together and shit, but I don't think so. It seems to do its own thing, but it still has that, I think, sometimes more hilarious than fucking Rick and Morty, because sometimes Rick and Morty gets like weirdly deep, but that's how that show is. But this one's just something else, dude. It's its own thing, personally. But yeah. What's anything new for you, Wes?
All right, so I have two for you guys this week. My first one is Netflix's number one trending film right now is What Lies Below. It was released just last year. The film follows a young teenage girl and her mother as they struggle to maintain their relationship when a new boyfriend comes into the picture and begins to display some unnerving behavior. Now, I kind of just press play on this on a whim. I kind of scope around and see what other people are watching when I'm kind of being indecisive and give other stuff a try that I probably wouldn't have normally clicked on, had I not seen that.
Don't you like doing that?
Yeah, it's fun. And it's a good opportunity to kind of be exposed to some weird stuff that you wouldn't like. I didn't even know this film existed until they put it on Netflix. So that's the kind of beauty of streaming sometimes. But this film is really good. It's kind of an indie body horror film, and there's a lot of kind of weird, disturbing stuff. Like there's some turns that this film takes that you're not going to see coming, but it's very, very good, very entertaining, and pretty scary. What else? Oh, and it was pretty refreshing to see. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mina Servari. She was in all the American Pie films. She's in that film Loser with Jason Bigg. She's in Sugar and Spice. And you guys, you guys remember her? She plays the mother in this, so it's pretty interesting to see her.
Choir chick.
Yeah. Goody girl, choir girl, prince, or whatever.
What was the film again?
It's called What Lies Below.
What Lies Below. Very nice.
Yeah, pretty.
I gotta check that one out.
Cue it up. Some crazy body horror, and I know you're kind of into that, Tiny. So yeah, check this one out. My second one is on HBO Max, I believe. It's called Generation. It's basically about. It's kind of following suit to Euphoria, but it's, I feel like, a little more lighthearted and not as, the themes aren't as dark within it. It's kind of focused on the LGBTQA community, but it's a pretty good show. It's very interesting, funny at times, and just gives us a look... at least the older crowd at the, what do they call them? Gen Z now? Is that the younger, the kids now? Yeah, Gen Z. Yeah, what they kind of go through and their struggles in the technology world. So pretty interesting. It's called Generation. They have just the first 8 episodes right now, and I think they took a break, and then they're going to release some more in June, I believe. It's called Generation, if you guys are interested in checking that out.
Generation.
And that'll move us into Tiny's focus for this week.
Right on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right, so this week, DJ and Artist chose Looper from 2012. It's rated R. It's a sci-fi action film. Runs at 1 hour and 59 minutes, and it's got an impressive 93 on Rotten. Very well-deserved, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
In a distant future, time travel exists, but it is so dangerous it's been made illegal, which has warranted the black market to create a faction of killers for hire in the past called loopers. These loopers work for a period of time and are granted exactly 30 years before they are sent back to the past and terminated by their younger counterpart. In our story, Joe is saving his silver and biding his time until he can move to France. But when he is outmatched by his older self, his life is completely flipped upside down. Written and directed by Rian Johnson, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bruce Willis, Emily Blunt, Pierce Gagnon, Paul Dano, Piper Perabo, Jeff Daniels, and Garrett Delahunt. The high concept of Looper was first envisioned as a short film in which the character of Joe was written with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in mind, as he and Ryan had already worked on the neo-noir thriller Brick beforehand. Ryan eventually wrote and extended the screenplay to be a feature-length film. As Bruce was cast shortly after Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the crew realized they had two exceptional actors who really looked nothing like each other, which is why practical effects were added to Joseph's face, kicking it up another notch. JGL studied Bruce's mannerisms to create a streamlined flow through the film, something that truly makes the film that much more authentic. In a time of endless reimaginings, remakes, and reboots, Rian Johnson had envisioned and accomplished a truly original, thought-provoking, great piece of sci-fi cinema. Looper has everything you could want. It's futuristic, gritty, romantic, tense, and unbelievably fun with its stacked cast, and Willis proving he can still give a great performance when he wants to. Let's not forget the haunting and pretty iconic score by one Nathan Johnson, which helps create an intense and even noir vibe to the film mixed with its clever and smooth dialogue. Looper is a flick that keeps you excited and guessing until the final frame. If you haven't caught it yet, give it a try with the Stars app right now. Thank you.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very well said.
All right, Anaris, tell us what made you pick this film for us this week on your triumphant return back.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, it's very thought-provoking film because it's like, I think for me, it's one of those films that if you dive into the story, it breaks a fucking lot of rules. And it's one of those movies, I think, that it's okay for it to do it, but for many people in cinema, it's not okay. That's why I think that when they did it, it was like, fuck it, dude, this is still an amazing film. I like those. It was a very good, compelling story, very strong. If you can think about, like, beyond there's telekinesis and fucking time travel, because that shit can end up being messy in film. But I think this film did it okay. I mean, if you're not so, like, sciencey and shit, like most people are, I think this film's really good, dude. Like, there's nothing, I think, too bad about it. And it, like, and many people, as the film went on, like, till now, it's been picked apart. Like, people had more time to, like, dive into it and shit. But for me, it's just an enjoyable, I can always, like, recommend it to somebody, you know, and then it's just one of those good sci-fi films that hit hard. Like, sometimes very deep storyline. If people do still appreciate deep storylines, I don't know. But, yeah, dude, fucking Looper 2012. I couldn't believe I saw this in 2012. We were talking about it before the beginning of the show. Like, I couldn't, yeah, you're right. Amongst other films that came out, this was probably the best sci-fi one, dude, if I can say that. But yeah, dude, Looper, for me, it was really dope to see it in theater, and very good and heartbreaking, very dope, dystopian, kind of like still like some other dystopian movies where they have still like sometimes old school stuff in it. I guess this one's like in 2040 something. I don't remember the exact date. 2044. But yeah, I guess some people just can't break out of the old school habits. You can still see, like, I liked how they did that in this film. And I don't know, man. Like, I think that whole situation for this movie is just crazy and mind-boggling to think about sometimes. And, like, decision-makings were just, like, it's just like, well, damn, dude. I think for those that haven't seen it, it's definitely at least good for the sci-fi lovers. If you're, like, a science nerd, maybe don't watch this, because you're going to fucking, like, you could rip it to shreds and shit, like, thinking about, like, the time part, like, the time travel. But other than that, I don't know, maybe you guys could justify some of those moments, but I think, like, some people are saying, like, it is a little bit, like, kind of hard to say, like, you can't really, this film does its own time traveling, I think. You can't put it in that aspect of how real it is, I guess, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you got to just break out of that habit, I guess, for many people that are all fucking smart and shit. But yeah, dude, that's my take on it for this one, basically. Like, and I still like it, dude. Like, it's a really good movie. Like, and I think West and some others will agree with me, you know. And with the 93%, you can't really. That's why I chose it. You know what I mean? So it's a really awesome film. I think many people are still sleeping on. If not, they're probably already hating on it. If anything, what you guys think, dude?
I thought it was a really. So first off, I want to say that was a good dig at Bruce Willis. Wes. We talk shit about him a lot. I mean, more so in his more recent things, but this one was definitely one of his better roles in the closer to the present time for us viewing it. And I want to say it's kind of like you get to see what someone would do to, like, you're seeing what Bruce Willis's character would do to keep his wife, or to bring her back to life, basically. And he goes around trying to kill these little kids before they're born, or before they turn into the Rainmaker. This diabolical, gang leader in the future who's closing loops.
Closing all the loops, pretty much.
Closing every single loop, which you kind of get a sense that something's going on, because I think one of the loopers who was with JGL says, "Man, that's the fourth loop that's been closed this week," or something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, like something's, something. You're not really too sure if that's a normal thing, but from the way he's saying it, it kind of sounds like that's like an odd thing for them to have, like 4 loops closed in that amount of time. But that's crazy. How crazy would that be to, like, kill your future self? It's pretty deep. And then you see what JGL's character would do for to get his life back. Basically, he doesn't care really, pretty much all the way up until the end. He's more of a selfish type of person until he gets to kind of see what what real love is, because you get to see what's her name, Emily Blunt?
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. She would risk her, of course, she would risk her life for her child. And then they throw in these 10% of the world has this TK telekinetic powers, which was a cool little thing for them to throw in. And then her son is kind of the more advanced telekinetic abilities.
Sid.
Yeah, so I think it's just really cool. This is a really cool, like, little time traveling thing, and even you get to see Bruce Willis when they're in the diner talking. He's like, we can go back and forth on this time travel stuff with straws and strings on the table, talking about this for hours. And I mean, you can literally, like, dissect and talk about time travel and how time travel shouldn't be able to be possible, because there would be no point for you to go back in time to change something if you were successful in the first place. Things like that are just you go in like a loop, basically. Hence the name Looper, I guess.
That's why it's banned.
So yeah, I love this movie. I think I remember seeing it. I'm not sure if I saw it in theaters, but I remember buying it and on Blu-ray when it came out. But I love this movie. This movie is awesome. I think it's JGL. Like you said, he kind of studied Bruce Willis, and you see that in his, like, little when he kind of squints his eyes and kind of looks around. It reminded me a lot of like Die Hard.
Yeah, especially when he goes over to Shanghai and he's getting a little bit older, he starts doing that very stern, classic fucking Bruce Willis face.
Like squinting his eyes, like, hey, it's like, it was cool.
It's looking like him, like, from Die Hard, like fully 100%. Dude. Yeah, that was a good scene. Did you notice that whole scene was fucking like in silence, dude? I thought that was very glorious.
You know, I think they did that on purpose because they're playing out like his loop beforehand, like what would have